What's going on, folks? Painless. You see the title, and yeah, it appears there's some riff in divestment land. This was this is I foresaw this. It's pretty predictable. Um, I've said this also. Some of the talking points that I've heard from these ladies in this sector, in that sector rather, that they still want to be with black men. The stuff that I hear or have heard, and yes, will occasionally tap in and ear hustle to see what these young ladies are talking about. And it's come to my determination that a lot of them are just bitter. A lot of them still have interest in being with black men. And the frustration just seeps out. But you have other ones like Cynthia G. See, what Cynthia G, and what I've always said what her tactic is, she uses a shaming tactic, and she delves into the most over-exaggerated examples of black men being with non-black women. And what's interesting, she did a video in which she pulled a report or a study, and the gist of it was that white women are more ostracized or more looked down upon for dating black men or outside of their race. I want to say it was particularly honed in on black men versus that of their counterparts, white men who date outside. And she'll use a variety of Twitter clips and retweets and comments and things of that nature to really play into the psyche as if, well, look, black men, you really aren't wanted by other women, or their fathers don't want you. And I've said this before, and her premise was, her reasoning was because that the reason that men don't want you, or the reason that their fathers, Hispanic fathers, white fathers, Asian fathers, don't want their daughters dealing with black men is because they're looked down upon. Black men don't have any resources. Black men don't work. And I don't want my daughter dealing with that. Now, on the face of that, it would appear to me that, well, if that's the reason, Cynthia G, if you are saying the reason, Hispanic fathers, white fathers, Asian fathers don't want their daughters dealing with black men because their perception is that black men basically have nothing to offer in terms of fiduciary or resources, then that's interesting. So is it because he's black, or is it because they know that black men can't provide resources? Now, I know that to be false. Trust me, when Eduardo doesn't want his daughter Maria dealing with Jaquan, he's not thinking, black men are at the bottom. They don't have resources. They're at the bottom of us. He won't be able to provide for my daughter. It's not because he's black. No. Most times, and I've said this before, a lot of times, non-black men have always looked at black men as a threat. I can tell you how many times when I lived in Hawaii, I would go into the gym and I'd see all these 5'5" Filipinos in there trying to get big and buff, and all this stuff, and these little Asians would look at me, and you can just see the threat of me in there. Not all, but you can tell the threat of all them in there because I'm in there. And just the disdain of having someone like me on top of their daughters or their niece or their aunt is petrifying to them. They're not thinking about, well, can Painless provide her resources? They're not thinking about that. And see, that's the premise and that's the catch that the ilk of Cynthia G wants you to be captivated by. That black men have nothing to offer, no resources. Well, you know, I've said this before. When I was married to my ex in Hawaii, it was me. Out of most of her male family, even her brother, it was me that had the more education. Now, and I'm just saying, since we own resources, and education is an ability for one to gain resources off the premise, off the eye, you know, on the surface. Now, I'm not saying you need a degree to make money, but for all intents and purposes, generally speaking, when you have higher advanced degrees, you can command more money. People typically can make more money. So don't come at me, well, Painless, you don't need a degree to be financially successful. Nick, I just explained. If you don't get it, push that little red line back at the bottom of this video and hear it again, because I ain't gonna say it again. Now, with that being said, when I was married to my ex, I had more money. I was loaning out money to non-black men, okay, and their families. I had the higher paying job. I was doing those things. So this idea that Cynthia G and women of her ilk, try to paint black men at the bottom is ludicrous. It is outright ludicrous. And I've also said this. What do guys like me, what about me? I mean, I certainly wouldn't qualify myself as a dusty trash bag-in. I mean, what about all these sisters out here relying on Instacart and DoorDash, running around here with their kids in the car, delivering Bojangles with no goddamn insurance coverage? What about them? Well, I mean, are those female dusties? And I've said this before. Man, I don't ask what a woman does in terms of in terms of your occupation. But I see, but women always, see, when a woman asks, so what do you do? See, she's already sizing you up resourcefully. What can this guy provide for me? Now, I have no problems with that. But I never ask a woman, unless we're just getting, but off the rip, I don't ask a woman what she does. And she'll come and this, she'll say, I'm the assistant, I'm okay, cool. I hit him with the, okay, cool. I don't give a shit. Now, if we were to get in, that's nice, but I'm not checking for your resources. And I have no woman betting mine, because I know that's how it is. Basically, she's asking me, can you bring back a big piece of meat to the village? That's all it is. Women have always looked at the guy that can bring the biggest piece of meat to the village, who can ward off raiders and people trying to take over the village. Women have always been attracted to guys that can do that since the dawn of time. It's just now we traded in meat for dollars. That's the difference. But yeah, there's turmoil in divestment land. And I would say that, as I said in the beginning parts of this video, this was this was bound to happen. And see, this is the confusion that I've always said to black women. You can't do what us black men do because you're not a man. It's not in your nature to go out here and be a boss bee and travel, and you just live in the travel. You say you're a boss, you ain't got no employee. You're not even structured right. Business, you're mixing personal income with business income. You're not properly, when I mean structured business-wise, you're operating as a sole proprietor instead of a LLP or a LLC. But you're a boss bee. And that seems to be the thing. You're making cakes and shit. You're making shirts and lollipops, and you're making all this food and shit. But you're not, And then, you got the nerve to sit up here and get on the internet and talk noise. Now, Cynthia G, she knows she ain't got no goddamn room to talk. I've talked about, I was one of the first to do a video about her getting pregnant by the nigga with tattoos. See, many of y'all don't know who that is. See, that's AKA Robert Perkins. And I believe that Cynthia G goes on these blitz campaigns because deep down she knows, and she was called out by one of her divestment sisterins about that. That you let a man put a seed in you. The very men you talk about, you had his child. And the fact that he can do that, or a man can do that, and go do that to other women, or has the potential to do that to other women, I believe that has taken over her whole psyche, her whole meaning in life. To where, something that's so catastrophic that happens to somebody, something that they just will never ever be able to get over. I believe Cynthia G is going through that. The fact that the very men she discusses and antagonize, she let nut in her and walk away from her. And she's suffering from PTSD, basically, over that ordeal. She's suffering from PTSD, which is why all the constant blitz of videos concerning black men. When she doesn't understand that, that's what we can do. We can nut in a woman and bounce and leave you with the child. Okay? Now, I'm not here to say if that's right, wrong, good, or bad, but nevertheless, that ability is there. And I've talked about a lot of women want to switch roles with men, especially in the so-called black community. Women want to be able to bounce and lead a child. That's what they want to be able to do that, but still reap the benefits. You leaving? I'll be down at the courthouse to put you on paperwork. But then again, they want the ability to see. They want it one way, and I said about that Marlo Stanfield scene in The Wire. But you want it one way, but it's the other way. This is where we're at, folks. And I tell you, young men, the best thing you can do now is to try to keep yourself up in shape, in some form of shape. concentrate on bettering yourself, getting your money right, your finances, your personal affairs in order. And if that requires you staying out these women's face, then so be it. Because we're living in an age, folks, where people do shit. The same people that do shit on the low and don't get caught will vilify your ass and talk about you and dox you and try to embarrass you and put you on Front Street for the very goddamn same shit they do when it's dark. That's the age we live in. I mean, it's always been like that. But now there's cameras and now there's video, and you have to be extra careful. And what you say, what you do, you know, because people will, and that's why I say a lot of these people act stupid. You know, all these knuckle draggers out here that sit up, don't want to work, who play on the damn internet and phone all fucking day, and say there's nothing, there's no job, I do this, and they jack off all day and play PS5 and 4 in a, you know, on their mattress in their little corner and thinking they're big shit on the internet. These, you know, these people are not dumb. They play dumb. A lot of smart dummies, because these are the ones, you know, instead of looking for an opportunity to better themselves and to find some employment, they're doxing people. Like, won't you take that same fucking energy that you doxing people, trying to expose and getting in folks' business, use that same goddamn energy to find your punk ass a job or a business opportunity. But no, you're in fucking people's business that you ain't got no business being in, and that's what you're doing. Now you multiply that by the millions that people are doing this. Capping on the internet, you know, stunting, flogging, whatever you want to call it, on the internet, trying to make themselves something bigger that they're not, and ain't even got $75 goddamn dollars in their bank account, if they got a bank account. So that's the age we living in, you know. But yeah, it's in, you know, this divestment, you know, I heard a girl cuss Cynthia G up and down, round and round, you know, and she was right. Like, how you gonna talk when you had a baby by one of these dudes? Now, I'll say that a lot of these divestment chicks, they really want to still be with black men, but they stunt on the internet, on their little clubhouse, little rooms and Google Hangouts. But deep down, they're probably still fucking a black man. And that's fine. And I think that's Cynthia G's premise. She says she's not a divestment channel. You know. But see, Cynthia G, like I said, she suffers from PTSD. So her tactics are, you know, she's consumed. I think she's a real divestment. She's more a divester than a divested zealot. See, a divested zealot, I don't believe her. I think she just stunts and caps and says outlandish, funny ass shit. Whereas Cynthia G, she claims not to be of the divestment community, but I believe she is. She's more, Cynthia G to me is more sinister, because she attempts to, not attempt, she does use, she admits that black women should focus more on psychology. Now, we know psychology, there are reports, you know, the feminists have always been have always infiltrated, the liberal left has always have infiltrated intelligentsia a long time ago. And psychology is one of those liberal leaning degrees or areas of study that has always been anti-black male or anti-black. And there's some people have done work on that. I saw Dennis Sperling. He pulled an article from Psychology Today, I believe, highlighting this, basically saying that black women, basically anti-family, that being scared of black men, kind of along the lines of why I talked about why some non-black fathers don't want their daughters being with black men. That's being transferred to other women along with black women. Essentially, don't date black men. They're prone to if you date a black man, he might be a quote unquote bullet bag. He might be another Michael Brown. And if he doesn't become a Michael Brown, he'll kill you in a domestic dispute. That is the agenda being pushed, black men. I've always said, and I still continue to say, there is a war on straight heterosexual men of all ethnic groups, backgrounds. But I'm talking about black men. Black men, they're trying to use science and propaganda to get basically people to stop fucking with us from a companionship, love, relationship, natural union between a male and a woman. They're trying to put fear via science to have women scared of black men. But that's always been the case. But again, we have video and cameras now. Nothing's really changed, folks. It's just everything is for our eyes to see. But I'll say this. This is what Painless does. I will never stop walking around with my chest out, not in a cocky way. I will not submit and be a limp wrist and change the tone of my voice so people don't think that I'm an aggressive man. And I'm thankful that I live in the South for a certain reason. See, there's still some resemblance, or some remnants rather, of what a man supposed to be. If you're in these liberal areas like California, Washington, New York, that you have to damn near be I've talked about the gatekeepers. And many of y'all know I'm right. I've been talking about this since 2012. Many of y'all know. If you think about working in an office somewhere, you a guy, you either got to be bending over on your knees, and I'm gonna leave it right there. To be a straight male in those areas can be problematic because you're looked at as a threat. But there's a push to have women come into our areas. Like men, they're not trying to be. You don't hear about men. Join first man to be part of all women's professional bowling league. You don't hear that shit. Men, we doing our own shit, but women want to try, and they are invading our spaces. And that's what you got going on. And again, like I said, there's a war on being. So again, what I do, and what I'm going to continue to do, you just got to stay the course. Because if you don't take anything from this video, just take this. Stay the course, man. You may have to be a recluse. Work out. get on your quote unquote purpose or whatever you got going on in life. Because things will auto-correct. Nature will auto-correct. There'll be a time when these women will come and be, and some would just rather die than not do that. And that's what you're seeing now. You have a lot of women that are willing to quote unquote die alone. Being found 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, damn near decomposed, rather than deal with a man because they still want to travel and eat and spend money they ain't fucking got every damn weekend, than to be not controlled, but to live a harmonious life with a partner and to do those things with. They rather be found a week or two later, deads in the house, stanking. And to them, arrivederci, adios, Avita saying, let them. But for the women that are teetering on the, kind of kicking the can, or, hey, those women will come back because nature always auto-corrects. It will always, all this shit will auto-correct. Society, it just, the way that things are now, America will not survive. It won't, and it's going to become a coming to Jesus moment. It may not be when we're here, may be some generations down, but it will auto-correct. But, yeah, that's all. Brother's off today, gonna kick it, head downtown, have a little brunch, do some sightseeing, enjoy the city, painless out.